this level of deepness, I could feel how I was able to let go through my whole body. I was able to let go from like different things, situation, people. At some point, it was almost impossible to breathe. It was as someone hit me in my solar plexus, and I was like, all this pressure I put on myself, I could release over here, and all this pressure was like just releasing, and I started to cry. Hello and very welcome to a new episode of Aufkläramt. So this podcast is about a 10-day silent retreat. You probably have heard about it. There are different types. This type is about anapanasati silent retreat. There are different kinds of, like probably you know about vipassana. Where is the difference? Anapanasati basically consists of 16 levels. The first 4 levels are about focus, like how you focus yourself on your breath or on an obstacle or on your body to get rid of your monkey mind. Then you step to the next levels. On level 13, when it's the same as vipassana, it's going inside. So basically in vipassana you also have to do the focusing, but probably they are more advanced, and then you go inside. And on level 16 you are enlightened. Actually, anapanasati is also what the Buddha practiced and taught, so it's a good way to start. Coming back to my experience, so in the beginning of my travel I already thought about going to a silent retreat again, because I've already been in a silent retreat, 10-day silent retreat, in the same actually. And I thought the last time I would have liked to stay longer, but my body was not capable of staying longer. I had back pain and pain just everywhere. I had these thoughts in the beginning, but during the travel I was like, I don't want to, and then when it was getting closer and I was already in Thailand, I thought about it again, but I had a lot of resistance. So why do I have so much resistance? I was distracting myself before with work, with new experiences, and I had no space for processing stuck emotions. And I knew there were stuck emotions inside of me, but I also know it probably is quite painful, so I was distracting myself, as we tend to do with different, like with sports, with work, as I said, with sex, with food, whatever, right? We distract ourselves to not feel this pain. Yeah, a huge topic which has been there for like the last 2 years consciously is about letting go. It's about letting go of the person I thought I am. It's about the beliefs which I was identifying myself with. It's about friends. It's about safety. It's about people in general. People, let go of people. If you're into astrology, I'm in the sun, in my zodiac sign, I'm Pisces. A big task is letting go and humility. I recently understood what that actually means, because we all have to let go of things and stuff, but the hard thing for Pisces is that Pisces are able, that's a strength, a trait, are able to merge with a person or be this person, be the situation, become this situation in the non-physical way, and then really feel the feelings, the emotions. And on one side it's very good, so you are very present in this moment, you can feel, you can understand this person. On the other hand, it can be very addictive, so you confuse yourself with those emotions, for example, or you get addicted to the emotions this person created within you. And then you think that you cannot create these emotions by yourself, but you have to let go to see that you can create it by yourself. So, like, I'm getting off track, but very interesting. So, and because of all this resistance, I like competitions. Because of all this resistance, I said, okay, let's do it. I have to do it. So if you haven't seen my experiences from my first day, you can watch it. I also created a podcast, but it's in German. So I will repeat the schedule a little bit so you have an idea. So basically you start waking up at 4. You can have a watch, but you can do it without a watch, because there's always a gong between every step, and then you go to the meditation hall. So what is it about? You wake up at 4 and then get to your first meditation at 4:30. On the schedule throughout the day is most of the time, of course, meditation, switches between meditation, sitting meditation, and walking meditation. And there are also readings or Dharma talks. Dharma talks, in the beginning they try to explain more about the meditation in general, how to sit, how to breathe, what to pay attention to. But later on, it's about the Buddhism, how the Buddhism works, it's basically still about meditation, but it's getting more into the Buddhism. You have 2 meals at 8 a.m. and at 12 p.m. That's it, no more meals. You have some chores to do. Everything is very simple. You have to wash your own clothes. There's no normal shower. You're not allowed to do sports except 1 hour or 1.5 hour yoga in the morning to get more flexible, basically. And no electronic devices, of course, no speaking, silent retreat, no mirrors. You sleep on concrete with a bamboo mat on it, and you have a wooden pillow. So actually sleeping on the side on this bamboo mat and with your head on this wooden pillow, it's okay, but sleeping on the back, at least for me, I was cheating a little bit. I had this pillow from the airplane. And yeah, that's pretty much the day you are going through for the next 10 days. But first there's the registration day. Normally it's not really interesting, but for me already there happened a lot. So I was feeling a lot of resistance over there. I felt very illusional to be there again after almost 2 years. It felt like 5 years. Then I asked myself, who have I become? Like, what happened and how is my journey going? I was overwhelmed by those thoughts and how much I changed. That was crazy, actually, to sit there and realize, man, it's already been 2 years and it feels like so much more. It was good, but on the other hand, yeah, already another 2 years passed by in a blink, right? Like after my registration, I went to the meditation hall because I knew the place, right? I knew where to meditate. I put my pillows over there, my cushions, and then I sit down because I had the feeling of sitting down, and I sat down and I don't know, it was like this feeling that all this pressure I put on myself, I could release over here. And all this pressure was like just releasing, and I started to cry. So the retreat hadn't even started, but I already cried. I was crying in the meditation hall. But it was such a pleasant feeling. Yeah, that was good. Then I went back to my room, to my accommodation. And you have to get your mosquito net, right? And a different room. I went to this room and bumped into another German guy. And I talked a little bit about my journey, and it's about letting go, as I was telling you. Of course I had some energy because there was something behind it, so he could feel this feeling I gave him, and he almost immediately started to cry, and I was then holding space for him, getting him a good, I would not say German, but a good hug. And people who know me know that I'm quite good hugger. Yeah, you know what I mean. So I was holding space, and he came back to me later on in the registration hall and asked me, so you were talking about letting go and you are going through it, so can you give me some advice? And I said, of course. Of course I can. So I practically, literally I gave him 15 minutes of private coaching. I could see how it was shifting his mind. So I felt good in this moment to be able to help him, which was good, yes. And then he came again and with a notebook and said if I can say it again because he doesn't want to forget anything. And I repeated it, and he was very grateful. Then the first day started, and on the first day, what happened after my first meditation, I went back to the room and 2 Scorpios were in my room. And it was only later I understood what this meant. Coming back to astrology, 2 Scorpios, I'm pretty good with being around and with Scorpios, both genders, but there have been 2 Scorpios in my life who really changed me emotionally and shifted some concepts within me. This not only made me a better person, but also in the future a better partner, a better father, a better friend. I realized in this moment that this whole stay, like this whole 10 days, is about transformation. Going further, I realized that was like I realized the first days how determined and how much willingness I had back then, like 2 years before. I was really not flexible. So, but I had so much determination and willingness to not quit and to go through it, even though I had no experience in sitting on the floor, no experience in meditation, no experience at all with how to handle my thoughts and emotions. So I was proud of myself, my younger self, my past Marcel, that he had the courage to do it, and I realized that in this moment that I can be proud of myself for this. Back then it was all about the physical aspect, but now this changed because I was able to sit on the floor, I could meditate, there was not a big of a deal, I could also sit for 1 or 2 hours, no problem. But now it changed from the physical part, like from my body, changed to mental and emotional part, and this was very different. So in the first place I could quit like every day and then the pain is gone, right, the physical pain. But now if I quit, where's the point of quitting now, right? Where's the point of quitting? Because the emotional and mental challenges will stay, so there's no point of quitting, right? So that was like so I just have to surrender this right now, right, and enjoy it. Yeah, as soon as I was starting to focus on my breath, I told you, like the 4 steps, pain arise. Pain here, solar plexus. That was strange because the pain was distracting me from focusing on my breath. At some point it was almost impossible to breathe. It was as someone hit me on my solar plexus and I was like in this moment I realized that this pain I was feeling here, this emotional pain, was there the whole time, the whole, I don't know, 4, 6 months, maybe even longer, and I lived with it every day, but I was not even able to recognize it, right? So my body was having this stuck emotions inside of me, and what it creates is like a low frequency, right? And you cannot, it comes to manifestation, it's not possible, right? If you have this emotions stuck within your body and was not even feeling it, right? I was suppressing it, crazy. And yeah, what did I do in this moment? In the beginning I was a little bit scared, but I remembered I've been to not this kind of pain, but similar pain, and yeah, what I did was just going through the pain and allowing the pain allowing to feel the pain. And that's, as painful as it sounds, it's beautiful on the other side as well, because I was focusing on myself. I was saying, I'm safe, I'm good, I'm like strong, I'm bulletproof minded, right? Almost. So, but nothing can happen, it's just my thoughts, my emotions. So just go through it, feel it, and then let go. And after every meditation it got better and it got better, but I was still confused. In general, my mood throughout the days from the first to the 6th day was changing from being very clear and having this clarity to this painful stuff, right? So it was changing, I don't know, depending on the time and how I felt, like was changing a lot. Coming back to this pain, realizing again that it's processing some childhood trauma which came up in a relationship. It's based on the fear of abandonment, like a classic fear and being weak and not allowing myself to go through it and suppressing it again was creating this pain, I guess. At least this is my conclusion. And at some point I was confused with this pain, right? So you have the possibility, the chance to talk to a volunteer or to a monk, I think on day 4 to 6 or something. So I went to the volunteer. His name was Werner, a German guy, a little bit funny. So I explained my problem, like pain is coming up, and he tried like blah blah blah, breathe a little bit, and then I tried again. So it's not about the breathing. And then he was understanding my problem, and he said, man, I don't know, I haven't heard about this problem ever, and I'm now here for 10 or 20 years, I don't know, I remember, and you should better go to a monk. So next day I was having the same conversation with a monk, actually great dude, very funny. So he basically looked at me. I told him my problem with this pain coming up. I told him it's not physical, it's emotionally. I'm pretty sure. He said, let's see. So you look legit, right? You look like that physical part is not your problem. Do you smoke? No. Okay. So basically what I tell everyone, breathe in, breathe out. So he had some concepts again from the Buddhism, which was nice, but I said like, that's actually the problem. As soon as I breathe in, breathe out, the pain is coming up. And then the other interesting part here was you only have a certain amount of time, right, to talk to him. And we were almost getting out of time, and normally in the past I would get nervous. Oh, I don't know, I don't want to get on his nerves and taking more time than I'm actually allowed to. But this time I was just sitting there waiting for him to say to me, okay, now you can go. So I was totally fine, just being in the moment, breathing in, breathing out, as he said. And then I think he sensed it, and then he was going inside himself as well, and he said, you know what, based on what you told me, you are giving all this love to other people, but you're not giving the love to yourself. And this hit me, even though I heard this from different people and even from myself already. But in this moment, you know, sometimes you have to hear it from different people or out of different views, angles, and at some point it gets into your body, right? This is what happened over here. Then I could almost already feel how my eyes were getting wet. So I left with this information, with this new information, to a pond close to the monastery, and I cried. And I could feel how this released something out of me, like some, I don't know, whatever it was, but it was very good, very fulfilling to let it go. And I mean, this is already a learning as well, right? Love yourself first, and then you can give love, not the other way around. Of course, what you also said afterwards, breathe in, breathe out. And basically, in this monastery, I cried several times. I wasn't always aware of what I was crying about, but I think I don't need to know every time. So you just release stuck emotions, and maybe they are not a problem anymore, and you just release them. And I got even very deep into the meditation, and on this level of deepness, I could feel how I was able to let go through my whole body. I was able to let go from like different things, situation, people. I could not always point to like what I was letting go of again, but this feeling actually is quite intense and fulfilling again. So getting this deep into the meditation can really change things within you. And through this whole process of letting go, my body got more relaxed, and I got more relaxed, and I could even feel of letting go of all this stuff. My body craved for some sleep, so my body was very like exhausted from all the pain and all this attachments I was kind of not letting go. And afterwards my body needed some recovery, so I was sleeping a lot as well. I mean, I'm not sure, because the nights were rough on this bamboo mats, but I had the feeling of sleeping a lot, even in the meditation. So yeah, what is interesting as well is you're being in a place where you don't have to care about a lot of things, right? It's like the food is made for you, you don't have to set a timer, you don't have to think at all, basically. So you're just sitting and spending time with yourself. And I mean, this is what we are wishing for all the time, right? And then you are in this place, I am in this place, and then you think, what the fuck, I don't want to do it, right? I don't want to be here and sit and spend time with myself all the time. And I think that's very interesting in terms of, I've heard it throughout my travelings a lot, that people are telling, and even like myself including, that we can spend time with ourselves easily. But actually, if you look to this closer, is it really the point that you can spend time with yourself alone, or is it you being alone but distracting yourself with social media, with TV, with work, with sports, with all kind of stuffs, but not getting or not being really alone with yourself and observing yourself and your thoughts and what's coming up, because we are so afraid to stepping into our own light when we let go of all these expectations, of this attachments, these ideas we have, and seeing who we really are, that we just keep distracting ourselves. So why would I otherwise be so annoyed of being only with myself, not doing anything, right? So do I have to perform, which is basically another attachment or self-worth issue, because I think I'm not worthy if I'm not performing, if I'm not working. So what is it, right? Is it so hard to be with yourself and doing nothing? Nothing, and like, I mean, you're doing a lot, but I mean physically, or in terms of how society sees what is meant to be doing something. And another situation which was interesting was I acknowledged that I was creating the same emotion over and over again. So I asked myself what I'm thinking about, right? If you know the concept. So there's a difference between you have a stuck emotion, which you want to release, and you're creating the same emotion over and over again. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So I have probably the same thoughts again. And then realizing which thoughts were behind it and letting go of the thoughts, the emotion was almost gone, right? I let it go. So I have to burn this emotion, and then I let go of the thought, and the emotion was not created anymore. And I was free. So we can also create our emotions consciously or unconsciously. And I mean, you can use it for you if you can create useful emotions. That's basically how manifestation is done. You can use it for the better or for the worse. And what came to mind was also that we are coming to this planet to experience as much facets of it as possible, including emotions, like all facets of emotions. If you try to explain it to someone who has never felt it, it's impossible, right? But if you want to write a book about your silent retreat and what kind of emotions you lived through and what it changed within you, or the experience you made, it's almost impossible if this person hasn't made their own emotions, own experience on this same level. So there's maybe, why am I telling this? You can only meet people on the level they are, and they have to go through their own experience. And maybe I made some experience with emotions on a specific level, but another one already gone through all of those. So he can try to explain, but either I experienced by myself through going all through this stuff and then becoming on the same level. I mean, the emotions are always different, right, from people to people, but you cannot intellectually get it. So you have to live it. And is it not sad that then we get so comfortable and thinking we are staying in our comfort zone and never reaching for this, because we have all these concepts, all these fears within us, which are holding us back to experience it. This made me so proud of myself, recalling these years, like past years, in which I have gone so far in terms of for myself, and how much I was able to explore and experience. That is something which no one can take from me, right? And I can take it within my grave, if you wish to say it. Yeah? People were telling me when I quit my job, this is so risky that you quit your job, and what are you doing over there? And it's so safe. And I asked my question: is it really safe? What is safe? What is safety? Is it safe to be realistic, to be reasonable, to be logical, and risky, and take the risk of never experience those moments, those emotions, those this situations? Or is it more risky to stay in the same place and not getting there? I mean, it would be very interesting for me to hear from you. Maybe you can leave a comment how you experience this. But what is really risky here? Playing it safe or taking the risk and then experience life, even though maybe it's painful? But I mean, that's part of life too, right? And growing within yourself and then growing out of yourself. we don't have time, right? Like we only live once. Time moves quite fast. If you're not doing the things we feel in ourselves, or don't go for those jobs, situations, relationships, or not telling the people that we love them because we are afraid, or we have some ideas about ourselves, or we are angry or whatever because of some bullshit, that's too sad. Because if you are like 85 or whatever, older not old, older, you will regret it. This regret of what if I would have done it. This came to my mind again, and it's very powerful. The monk told us he told us a good story about it. Life is like climbing a mountain. So you climb a mountain and it's exhausting at some point. You need to train, and you get higher and higher. And the higher you get, the more clarity you gain, because you can see more, right? And at some days it's maybe not that clear because of all those clouds you get, or it's rainy, or it's cold, it's rough, right? But eventually this short to pass, right? Then it's getting clear again. It's perfectly related to our lives. If you go even further, right? If you go further and further, it's not about getting to 1,000 meters or 2,000 meters. It's about the whole process, the hiking, right? It's about the hiking, not the goal. Because if you're getting to the goal, you realize, I mean, it was about the birds you saw, like, I don't know, the valley you could see, the river. So you got maybe to the top. He said then if you're going to the top, you're enlightened, but because then you have this 360 view, and not everyone gets there, but you don't have to go there. But some people get stuck maybe at the camp. Like there's a camp on 2,000 meters and they feel comfortable. It's warm, it's nice, but if you stay there, you are not going to see the full picture, right? You're staying in this camp. And this is totally a perfectly metaphor for our lives as well. And especially if you go further, because at some point you have to get to climb, or like to get back to your town, right? To get your, I don't know, to get your manicure, to pedicure done, because, I mean, to get some food, whatever. You have to go back, but you still remember how it can look like. It's what I earlier said, it's about this book of emotions. You experienced it, and now you know how it feels, and now you can bring this maybe joy or this wisdom you gained out of it to other people. And maybe they will hike this mountain by themselves. Maybe they take another route. And so they experience a different path, but also beautiful. And sometimes we forget about what we have seen, and then we have to remind ourselves to either do this hike again, or other people maybe do it through singing, through meditation, through whatever. You can reach like this clarity in different kinds of ways, but it's a very straightforward story about our lives and where we get stuck and that we are afraid. But eventually the basic fear is not based on us really dying, but us being afraid of losing this self-identity based on probably most of the time or some childhood trauma. We just have to go through it, and then we get the clarity, right? Because even on the mountain, even if you live, I don't know, in Germany and we have clouds all the time, if you then go further and climb the mountain further, at some point you will be over the clouds, and then you have clarity as well. Maybe not clarity, but sunshine. So yes, in the last days of this retreat, coming back to this, most of my pain was gone. My energy was up. I was very excited for my future ahead. I had some plans that felt good. For a long time I was more on this coming back to astrology in my Capricorn energy, which I a little bit got lost of within the last 1 to 2 years. But that was very powerful to be reminded that this one is inside of me as well. And I felt so much lighter, stronger, probably because of all this letting go. And I realized as well how much time I was in this survival mode, and being in survival mode means that I'm in a low frequency and a needy frequency. I want to have something. I or I'm afraid, I'm ashamed, right? And out of this frequency again, it's almost impossible to manifest properly. So letting go of this was actually another good thing. Not of all, I mean, of course, not everything. I'm not enlightened now, but some of it. And I mean, another good thing is that I got more flexible. I can really recommend this yoga practice over here. On the last day, always like if it comes something to the end, it always reminds us that we are not here for our whole life, and then you all of a sudden you enjoy it more. Like there's this hot spring we have, or like they have in this monastery. It was until the last day I really enjoyed this hot spring. I was going in, I was feeling all my body, even it was painful, even the pain I could really enjoy in this hot spring. My last meditation, I really enjoyed the meditation, breathing in, breathing out, the last walking meditation, whatever, right? You know where I'm going. Should from time to time remind ourselves that we are not here forever, and we can enjoy every moment. It's beautiful, even though it's maybe pain, maybe it's unpleasant, but there's a lot to enjoy and to grow, and that's life. That's this mountain climbing. Maybe coming almost to an end to my learnings. One of my learning is that I realized that I'm able to handle different emotional pain on different levels, even though I can't hardly breathe, which leads to a mindset of what can happen then, right? I mean, if I'm able to handle those emotions, and probably there are even worse emotions, but now I have tools which I can use to get or to handle those emotions. Not always in this, like directly in this time when it occurs maybe, but eventually I can resolve those emotions, and that's, at least for me, was very powerful. That gave me a lot of certainty and trust in myself, and even a deeper connection to myself, of course, right? I had this whole process of allowing. I understood better. Like we are talking about allowing. You have to allow yourself to be loved. You have to allow yourself to be wealthy, whatever it means. You have to allow yourself to enjoy the moment. What does it mean? You have to allow yourself to be successful, right? And I've already done it in different situations, for example with partnerships. Every time I really allowed myself, I could feel it, allowing myself to get into a relationship, woman was coming up, like right away. So, and this process of allowing myself to other things, I'm still not 100% there, but now I have a feeling of how it feels and how I can maybe get there. So that was also very interesting for me. I already said it, right? Your response to people, or if you're in an argument and you see that you yourself or you're both on your ego level, and like hate creates hates and always creates more tension. But if you're acting out of love and maybe you step back and seeing like what is the pain of the other person, like why is he acting like this or she's acting like this, and then understanding her, not tolerating, but understanding her, then seeing of this relationship or this person is worth of going further and helping not in a way that you show the solution, but understanding, right? Being there for them. Then just showing love, acting out of a place of love, which doesn't mean you have to forget yourself, and it doesn't mean that you have to be very nice. No, it can be quite the opposite, to be very direct, to ground them, but that you stay calm within your medi, and then you can decide of how you react on the situation instead of your ideas or thoughts letting you react on it. And because this can most of the time it gets to friction and even more chaos or whatever problems, but this is really deep, and this is a possibility you can deepen with meditation, right? Or with anapanasati, because it's all about breathing, right? If you breathe in, breathe out, and you stay in the moment, then you can see the moment for what the moment really is and not what you see the moment is, right? Because most of the time it's coming from us, how we see the world or how we see the situation, and not the situation, how the situation really is. So probably we are making the problem here. We are the cause maybe of the problem because we attracted this to ourselves and not getting where we're going over here. And this is quite powerful, but it's a process of learning. And the very last thing is that getting to this Capricorn energy and putting myself into Capricorn energy, where you find purpose, direction, clarity, and also willingness, and seeing the things as they are and not how you think they are or how you are, is quite powerful. That was for me another benefit I get out of this retreat. And in general, I would recommend if you, try it out. I just shared some of my experiences, what I experienced, but everyone will experience it differently. Everyone goes through different challenges, but in general, getting closer to yourself, it's a challenge as well. You can prove to yourself that you can make it, which increases your self-confidence, and seeing what happens. Nothing bad can happen over here. Just try it. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast and got some insights of me. I tried to get as deep as possible for me. There was quite emotional as well, some insights of myself. And if you enjoyed the podcast, leave a like and subscribe my podcast for further interesting episodes.